I'm Nick Filardi.
I'm Jason Thielbar.
Welcome to the world's second finest podcast. Today, we're talking Bat books, which came out September 1995. With those mainline Bat books, we're chatting also about our top 5 Batman Adventures issues. Mainline only. No annuals, no specials like Mad Love or the Holiday Special, because if I was to make a top 5, it would be both the annuals, the Holiday Special, and Mad Love would be in there. So
yeah. Well, in my little note that I have in front of me, because I made sure to write down the issue numbers on a little sticky note. I just also wrote like special award, holiday special, and then under it, I wrote as a question. I wrote, liked it better than Mad Love.
Oh God, if you had to pick between the Holiday Special and Mad Love, what would you pick?
Holiday Special. It's that Ivy Harley story in the Holiday Special is just so perfect. It's just like so perfect.
Mad Love is one of the most critically acclaimed comics ever, and it is an absolute joy. But I think that I just really love the holiday issue. I think it just speaks to me personally a little bit more than Mad Love.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And like no shade on Mad Love, like at all.
Yeah,
like whatsoever.
No. You're talking about like picking between two diamonds, you know? It's like there's no coal here, you know.
It's like someone saying that like some like Beatles album is their favorite over like Sgt. Pepper or something. It's like like they're still
it's
like
personal preference. Yeah, it's still all great.
Like, it's fine.
But before we get started, a little Po Buddies Nerfect. We talked about Maddie, who friend of the pod on the Watchtower, talked about his DC Pride list on a previous show, and I misgendered him. They are they, them. And I'm really trying to get that right. And no one feels worse about it than me. I've done this before with Hayden Sherman. I've worked with Hayden before. They are they, them. My 40-year-old plus brain is just so bad at like making that adjustment. And I don't mean to misgender anyone. And I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, no, I think from what I know, and as I'm not speaking for anybody, but from what I know, I think most people, if you're not being an asshole about it, and if you do apologize and say I'm going to try, then they'll be like, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, that's
I'd like for it to eventually click in my brain. I think that I'm just not around enough people with that pronoun on a regular basis, so I don't get enough practice. So my brain doesn't actually like convert over to being like, oh, this is what it is. You know, I feel like I just need to be around more people like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. True.
So yeah, just wanted to make a quick note. They, them for Maddie and Hayden. We are also going to talk about this isn't part of Po Buddies Nerfect. We've finished with our mistakes. Other than that, Jason, we've never made a mistake on this podcast.
None that anybody heard, because you cut out all my best conspiracy theory rants. Yeah,
it's true. I have a good 45 minutes of you just talking about Pol Pot. Basically, it's not appropriate for the pod. And it's not. Here's the thing too. You would think it's like 45 minutes, like 10 minutes at a time here and there. It's 45 minutes solid block. Like I'm just sitting here taking it. Yeah.
I barely take a breath. Like, me and Nick were talking before the show about how I'm trying to get my cycling legs back under me. And like, one of the things that I do is that like, while I'm cycling, I'll like practice like speeches as well to get my lung capacity up. Like that way I can just like go, like I can like outcast, but like not rhyming and just ranting.
Does that work?
I mean, apparently, well, did you know that about Outcast? Like when they were first starting out, their like manager would like have them run laps around their neighborhood and rhyme, like spit out verses while they were running to try to keep like that's how they got like so fast and so
wild, dude.
Yeah, like that's apparently how they were able to have that breath to do like Bombs Over Baghdad, to do those verses that were just like they just like. And then, apparently, I don't know if it works.
That's the urban legend.
Yeah.
We wanted to briefly talk about the hashtag that's going around on Twitter called Comics Broke Me. Hashtag Comics Broke Me. I had no idea that it was because Ian McGinty passed away. I thought it was just like something that spontaneously started trending on Twitter. So rest in peace, Ian. We're sorry to see you go at 38, like so young. Yeah. Please. We talked about this with Mike Parobeck passing away in his 30s. And it's like, y'all, take care of yourself out there. Like the deadline can wait. Have a decent meal, get regular sleep. Like, really take care of yourself.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to say about that hashtag is that I've personally seen some duplicitous agents in that hashtag trying to curry favor or like spin it so that they get some sympathy or something. Some people who are just generally bad actors using it for their own grift. So if you are browsing the hashtag and you are reading the horror stories, like anything on Twitter, grain of salt. Yeah,
the only thing I'll say about it, and I was thinking about it today. I think that it immediately showed like the best and worst of like social media. Not that like social media itself has like many bests, but like one good feature about social media is that it can bring people together, and a lot of this started because people were grieving a friend who passed away way too young.
Yeah, way too young.
But it also like brought out like a lot of stories of like people being like that they were afraid to share before, and other people like supporting them, because like people like, I don't know if I should talk openly about this because it might affect their work and future prospects and all that, but then like, as you said, you do have the people who just now, I also think people just get caught up,
sure, and they want to participate and that kind of thing. Which people who I know specifically are bad actors within the comic book community who are like, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And it's like, oh, that's not what it was supposed to be,
Yeah. It was, But yeah, take care of yourself. Like I can't, as a non-professional, someone who hasn't even like tried, like still like take care of yourself. I've had jobs before where I don't know why, and I shouldn't have, but I cared way too much. And it was not worth it. It didn't ever matter at the end of the day. I didn't get any, like it's,
I'll tell you, it's a weird, as a creator, it's a weird feeling being like crunching for a deadline, trying to hitting the deadline, making personal sacrifices to hit that deadline. And then like a year later, seeing those same issues in like dollar bins and stuff like that. Like it's an extremely weird feeling. Like on the one hand, I know people do appreciate the work and people do love comics. I mean, we love comics, but on the other hand, it's like, was it worth it? Could it have waited a week? Like, could we have bumped the deadline? In some instances, probably. In others, probably not. But like, the thing that I've learned over the years is before you start to kill yourself over the deadline, just send the editor an email and be like, hey, do we actually have more time on this? Like, can I take a day to just like decompress a little bit and then come back with fresh eyes on this thing? Or do you actually need it at this day?
Yeah.
And they'll be upfront with you. They'll let you know.
Yeah. Take care of yourselves. And we all love comic books. I love comic books so much. But you know what? It's not worth your life. It's not worth your fucking life.
And I would rather
like,
have,
it's just not.
I would rather have someone making, 40 less pages a year and have them be happy and healthy and living into their 60s making comic books than their life cut short in their 30s,
Yeah. Oh, completely.
With all that said, Jason, we got to get into our Bat books. So normally we do a Batman animated book that's like the centerpiece of this show, but I've been trying to get all the dates right for everything. And basically this is what I'm doing. I'm lining up the Batman Adventures book with Batman, the regular Batman book. And then I'm just extrapolating from there. And it turns out we had a month with no Bat book, even though we should have had a Bat book. I screwed up something somewhere, is what I'm saying. The dates are all over the place. I screwed up something somewhere. So we're just kind of like making do with what we got. We're also going to slightly change the format a little bit. I usually read all the synopsises, but now we are splitting the duty because eventually we're going to fold in Superman animated series stuff, truly become the world's finest, or the world's second finest, as it were. And so it's like, I can't summarize 9 books every week or so. Also, since we are doing a new format, we both kind of realized that trying to do all the Bat books and then the 2-read pile was just like too much pod. It was like unwieldy for me to edit. It was unwieldy for me to produce. So we are going to break those things apart. So you are going to get we're getting Bat books in September 1995 right now. And then next week, we're going to get a 2-read pile. And the week after that, we're going to get Bat books. And then the week after that, we're going to get our 2-read pile. So we're going to break it up a little bit. It also gives us time to actually like read some comics and bring them to the 2-read pile, which is helpful when you're talking about comics in the 2-read pile.
Yeah. I can't always come with like, some weird ass foreign film or I don't know, like music or something when I in a mad dash to have anything.
Right. In the next 2-read pile, I've started a omnibus that's like 36 issues, and it's one of those things that's like, well, I want to talk about this, but there's no way I'm reading 36 issues in a week. So it's just going to be what it is, like we need more time.
I might actually feel better about slowly finishing Starman now. I should jump back on.
Yeah, there you go.
Starman.
Yeah.
I kind of dropped it for a minute because I brought it to the 2-read pile, but I'd only read like the first or second like arc, and I loved it.
And now you're like, I got to bring something else to the 2-read pile. I can't sit around and read this. Yeah, exactly. We're trying to mitigate that. So going forward, Bat books every other week, and then 2-read pile in between. But for right now, we're talking Batman, which means Batman 523, written by Doug Munch and art by Kelly Jones. It's Scarecrow Part 1. Dark wings fly away in fear. Scarecrow breaks out of Arkham and just like hangs out in a cornfield for a while. It's great commitment to the bit. He chats with a crow about how he basically can't commit crimes until he deals with Batman. He decides to set up a trap by making a high school bully so afraid that his heart explodes. Batman beats up some jewelry store thieves while reiterating that he's still kind of on the mend from everything in Nightfall, Night's End, Night's Quest, figuring out where the line is for his own brand of justice and violence. However, now is not the time to think about justice and violence. Now is the time for parties with rich dudes, as Wayne hosts all the mayoral candidates over at his place. They talk. Gordon is putting out some real centrist, both sides bad bullshit. A woman named Madeline Corbett tries to kick it with Bruce, but Scarecrow is already killed, and Bruce must get to the cave and become the Bat. Batman tracks down the Scarecrow. At the next bully's apartment, they fight, The bully leaps out of the window in fear. Batman goes to save him. Will he? Find out next issue in Haunted Houses of the Head. Jason, what did you think of Batman 523? Did you read Batman 523? Because now you are not on the hook. You are Shadow of the Batman Adventures man now. You don't have to read them if you don't want to.
I will read. I'm probably gonna read most of the books every week anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
I am too, unless I'm like totally strapped for time.
Yeah. And also though, like you'll have to drag me away from reading anything that Kelly Jones has drawn. Like that's just like yeah.
So what do you think of 523?
I freaking loved it. It was like the perfect like Kelly Jones vehicle. I really liked a lot the characterization of Scarecrow. Like just the like, because it was just such like loony comic book villain shit. It's like, he's in a dead cornfield with a crow that is his pet that he talks to all the time, and he's just ranting like an old school villain. Like I just loved it. And the politics thing I don't give a shit about, but you know.
Yeah. The one of the bits that I like is that I guess at this time the character of Scarecrow was motivated in that he just wanted to like buy old books.
Yes.
So he's like doing crimes to facilitate like being a librarian, basically like cultivating a collection.
Yeah, because like, originally
Batman keeps getting in the way. I'm trying to buy books here. God damn it.
Yeah, because like originally wasn't his character like Professor Crane was like a literature professor, right? Like he wasn't like a psychology professor who, you know, he was all like about like, you know, drama and like, you know, metaphor and all that.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And I especially, I was like flipping through the book again as you were going through the summary. And I especially love this like little panel of just like a dark Batman, like framing the panel when you begin the fundraiser, just this little like.
I'm glad you brought that up because Kelly Jones is doing all these like flourishes like in like titles and establishing shots, and it's all vibes based. Like he's all just putting out the Batman creepy vibe the entire time. It's very very fun. It's very good. He does it on like all the title cards and stuff, and a lot of times like Shadow of the Bat or Detective, an artist will not necessarily like draw a thing for like next issue, haunted houses of the head, like, but he does every single issue. He's like hamming it up, you know. It's so good.
I love it. Well, and I love how they like, and Doug Munch is like clearly, I think from like his story, like just really leaning into like, well, okay, we got Kelly Jones, so like, you know, it's just like, it just makes you think of like, oh, all this stuff that I get to write. You know, it's like those stories you hear about people trying to cast a role and they're just like, oh, this actor type would be perfect, and like they get that actor that like they essentially
it's like, well,
it's like freaking great. Like it just seems like Doug Munch might have had like a lot of these like spooky stories, or like he really wanted to like write more spooky stories, and he's like, Can we get a Kelly Jones type art? Actually, can we get Kelly Jones? What's Kelly Jones doing right now?
Yeah.
Like
totally.
Yeah. Just such a sucker for it.
A solid issue. Jason, take us into Shadow of the Bat 43.
Oh. Shadow of the Bat, issue 43. Alan Grant is on the writing. Barry Kitson is on the drawing. Pat Garrity is on the coloring. Android Images separating those colors for you. Bill Oakley, not the one who wrote a bunch of Simpsons episodes, I think, is lettering. Brian Silfries painting the cover as always. Jordan B. Gorfinkel. I knew I was going to trip over that name.
Man, you're doing full credits. I was just writer artist done.
I wrote it. I'll read it.
No,
Jordan B.
I like this energy. I'm bringing this energy back next time we talk Bat books. It's full credits.
Jordan B. Gorfunkel, who I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but I also really like that name. That's a great last name. Assistant editor and the legend Dennis O'Neil doing the big boy edits. So the first thing we see is a giant cat in a top hat, Tux, playing a violin. God damn, what a way to grab me first thing. In dark, soupy inks, it's established that this is a casino. Mr. Thomas Blake is not allowed in. If you didn't know, you'll soon find out that this guy is Catman, which my computer autocorrects to Batman. So yeah, great job, AI.
That's not going to cause any conflicts at all.
Catman swiftly double split kicks the two security guards who are trying to keep him out. Look out, his claws are razor sharp, as you know. So thanks for the reminder, because I remembered absolutely nothing about this guy. So I was like, hey, thanks for that.
When was the last time we saw Catman? Was it the Tim Sale stuff? Was he part of the like 3 or 4 guys that was like, it was like Calendar Man and it was like a luck guy, and I think it was Catman, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
I also forgot all about him.
Yeah, forgot what he was even. I'm like, all right. And well, the dude behind the cash counter at the casino got a face full of those razor sharp claws for pressing the alarm button. Batman, astride a gargoyle, consensually? I don't know. Hears on his bat radio that there's a robbery going on at the Cat and the Fiddle, which is a pretty dope name for a casino. I'm not going to lie about that. Yeah. As Catman makes his rooftop escape and he's feeling pretty good about himself, Batman swings in and kicks him straight in his chest. Catwoman, now we go to this issue flip-flops back and forth. Catwoman is slinking around a small 3-story building, a 2-cent show at a 2-cent museum, one major quote-unquote valuable exhibit that she checked out during the day. So crude it has to be a fake, she thinks. So she knows it's a trap, but curiosity and all that. She can't help herself, the little scamp.
No. Yeah.
As she sneaks through the window, the lights come on and she flashes her smile and her best feigned surprise. Oh, your cunning wiles have me at your mercy. I also wrote a little note in my script. I said, Catwoman is good, guys. I'm like,
Catwoman is good. Unfortunately, the Catwoman book in this era is not that great, but Catwoman, the character, is very, very good.
Yeah. We meet 2 Pacific Islanders from an indeterminate Pacific Island. They belong to a cat cult of some sort. Me, as a white man, is comfortable with this cultural representation. I'm totally comfortable, and I think it's aged super well. So, anyway.
Yep, aged super well.
Anyway, they're the Council of 3, even though there's only 2 of them. They want Catwoman to steal something from them. She pieces out the window, like just immediately before they shout, they'll give her $1 million. And adorably, she's hung on by the windowsill, smiling like, hey, $1 million. All right. Flip quickly back to the cat fight. This Blake asshole sure likes his cat puns. He always lands on his feet. Like, come on, Batman tests this by throwing him down on the ground like a bitch. That's just like a total bitch. Just one arm just pulls it, yanks down. Back to the Council of 2, explaining their predicament. Catman, it was Catman who came to their island to study the rituals of their cat cult. Yes, those tropical animals, cats, native to all parts of the Pacific. Did I mention how okay I am with this and how great it's aged? It's aged like just
don't think about
awesome.
It. Don't think about it. Just continue. Just power through.
Well, that's also in my script.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So, the rich white guy, Catman, Thomas Blake, he couldn't join their cat cult. And so he stole their sacred carving of a cat that also has a cloth that's wrapped in it, and both are imbued with magic powers. But back on the roof, in the fight with Catman and Batman, Catman has gotten the upper paw on Batman. See, if that asshole can do puns, this asshole right here reading this can do puns as well.
You're going to make me regret like being like, Jason, do the summary for Shadow of the Bat.
It's not my fault. This is all insane.
We're going to have to pull the plug. This is never going to air. So Catman hits Batman hard enough to make an escape, at least. He doesn't really beat him up, but like, enough. Yeah, gets away.
Yeah. We get the rest of the story from the Council of Three, who are down a dude, how Thomas Blake, when everyone was on hallucinatory drugs during a ritual, he stole the artifact and killed a bunch of people. And they tracked him to Gotham, but they just, they want their shit back, essentially, is what it is. So Catman thought he got away, but Batman got a hold of him. No, wait, Catman threw him off the roof. It's a shrewd move right there. So Catwoman makes some pithy comment, which I enjoyed, about cat cults going out with black and white movies, which, okay, they're like, even in the 90s, they're like, yeah, this is a little kind of throwback,
We're even in the 90s, they were like, is this okay? Is this okay?
Yeah, they're like, I think we should acknowledge that. Maybe, let's just throw something in there.
It's wild to think that, like, for all the cultural sensitivity that we have now, in the 90s, it was like we still had that like voice in the back of our head that was like, yo, that's not okay, but we were still doing it. Basically, it was still in the culture.
Yeah.
We're gonna feel gross about this. Some of us are gonna feel gross about this. Others are gonna revel in it, and it's just gonna keep going.
Yeah. Now, you know what? We got deadlines, man. Stories got to get out.
Yeah.
So, Catman actually does toss Batman again, tosses him right out. Batman recovers with a grappling hook, but before he can go back and catch Thomas Blake, he hears screaming. He hears desperate cries for help, and he runs to the screams, and there's a picture window of a pharmacy that's smashed in with rats spilling out everywhere. Batman, thinking quickly, grabs an ultrasonic rat gizmo from his belt. He knows immediately who did this. It is Ratcatcher. Oh boy, do I love Ratcatcher. As he disperses the rats off of a now deeply traumatized man and coldly tells him that an ambulance will be there soon. Which, thanks, man. I've just been covered in a pile of hundreds of rats. And thanks for saving me. That's good. Best part of my day so far, you saving me from the rats. But now you're just like, yeah, man, ambulance will be here soon. And you're just walking away. Could use a hug.
Jason, have I told you that I actually am deeply terrified of rats?
Really? I never knew.
My problem is that I started reading about rats, and then I started getting more and more knowledgeable about them. And then I'm like, these things are awful. Like, one rat, a pet rat, even, totally cool with. A swarm, I am not cool with. Not cool at all. Did you hear the story about the guy who was standing on a sidewalk in New York City, and the sidewalk collapsed because there were rat burrows underneath that made it unstable, and he fell into a pit of rats, and he had to wait for help to get there. And he said that while he was down there, he was afraid to move because then the rats would attack him.
Yikes.
Pure terror, Jason. Pure terror.
Well, I agree. I honestly don't have anything to add to that. I mean, I kind of think swarms of anything will be a bit dangerous.
Swarms of anything are dangerous. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, rats being more common to swarm. So, looking into the pharmacy, it's just littered with rats, like lousy with rats. They're everywhere. And Batman is actually like a bit shocked, if you can believe it. He calls some authorities and has them check in on Otis Flanagan, who's Ratcatcher. Yep, he's gone. The new Arkham is a pretty leaky boat these days. He's been out for 6 hours already.
Mm-hmm.
Ratcatcher is in the sewers wearing an old school gas mask, which I'm just like such a sucker for. You know, those kind of hose hanging down from it, like
Yeah, man.
like some spooky plague doctor mask thing. Otis delivers a beautiful, like 3-page long, like madman villain monologue, like going into gory detail how he sent the last masses of rats to their death to save his own skin and how he feels a kinship with them. And he's filling them with poison and sending them to their deaths. They will have their names on the, and I quote, rat rolls of honor. I love this shit. I want to know every one of the rats' names, okay? You know this maniac, name them all. No repeats. Like, every single one of them has a name.
And he knows them all. He's like, oh, that one? That's Bitey. Oh, that one? That's Winky. You know, like, he knows. He knows.
Yeah, that's Lurleen over there. Where I'm kind of mad at her right now, but she's good. She's a good rat. She's a good rat. I swear. They're all good rats. After sending off his swarm, he looks in on his large adult son rats. He's studied a bunch of things at Arkham to know how to breed these big honkin' rodents. The birth of Rattus sapiens. My God, I love this man. This crazy, crazy comic book villain.
He's got great commitment to the bit, for sure. He's great commitment to the bit.
Yeah, he's full in. He's full method, you know, like he's just all in it. Back in the Batcave, Batman's watching some politics bullcrap on the cave TV. Mayor Kroll is a dick. So, like, I don't know, maybe he'd get along with Catman because Catman's kind of a dick too, you know, like, whatever.
Locking down that Catman vote.
Yeah. Batman explains how Ratcatcher has just gotten crazier. I've seen it so often. They start out looking for revenge, then it becomes an obsession, then they end up in a world apart. Alfred looks up from his microscope, and there's just a pregnant silence, and he says nothing. Batman, being the world's greatest detective, reads the silence and says yes, and Alfred just, I didn't say a word, and goes back to his slide. That dry British wit, man. Like, it's great. But Alfred gives Bruce the skinny on what he found from Catman's car. As everyone knows, he's William Blake. So good job, you dick. Like, why are you even dressing up in that? Like, whatever. But some traces of gravel that's popular for driveways in North Riverside. Batman figures out that both Ratcatcher and Catman are working out of the same area. How convenient. Alfred gets a good one-liner in about bats, cats, and rats, which, welcome back, Alfred. I always like the...
Glad to have you.
Yeah, Alfred gets to have a joke. And then we see a buck with large antlers grazing in a field, and then watch out. There's a jaguar just leaping out of nowhere to rip out its throat. It's pretty brutal, and Catman shows up to applaud his pet as he tells them that they're getting ready to skedaddle out of town that night. In Catman's lair, the litter box, okay, you know what? I'm workshopping. I thought it might have landed better, but maybe not.
There's a litter box in his lair, or the lair is called the litter box?
The lair is called the litter box.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We find that the missing Council of Three is all tied up, and peeling off his catsuit after a long night of fighting Batman. I really enjoyed that bit. He's like walking in. It's like taking a woman taking off her bra, getting over
yeah, done with the day.
Yeah, he explains his plan, which is he's going to take what he has, burn the place down with this guy from the Council of Three in it, and make the Fuzz believe that the charred remains are him. He's just going to fake his own death. It's an oldie but a goodie.
Yep.
We end our story with Catwoman, who's on a mission now, spying on a biker, just being a general bad guy, like whipping someone with a chain in an alley, and she bemoans that it's going to be a 5-mile hike on rooftop, no less, to Riverside. Nah, seeing the biker gives her an idea. She jumps down, kicks the goon off his bike, and wheelies away to Riverside. I love Catwoman. Continued in Catwoman 26 and concluded in Shadow of the Bat 43.
Which we're going to get to next time.
Yes.
Jason, this book, it was Barry Kitson, right? On the art?
Yeah.
It looked like he like blew up his layouts, and then that was it. It was like so like stripped down shapes of things.
It's kind of soupy at points.
I could feel the colorist struggling as I was reading. Like reading this, I could feel the colorist at his desk, and my hand and my emotions stretched out to him across time. And I was like, oh, buddy, I've been there. Oh, buddy, I am so sorry. You're doing the best you can. It didn't look good. I know he's like experimenting on the page, and like I applaud that. I'd never stifle anyone for trying to experiment. It feels like this Barry had read some Frank Miller and is like, I'm going to make this Frank Miller-esque, and like it just like didn't work as well as Frank Miller does it, you know?
Hey, listen, sometimes I kind of agree with you about the art, even though I did start to get used to it, but it muddied the action a lot.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, I will greatly applaud a swing and a miss, because at least you swung, at least you like you're trying it. It's just, I think I've mentioned it before. There are bands that I love where like, I get super excited for like a new album, and I still try to barely listen to an album of a band that like I love that's coming out, because I want that like fresh experience. And like, as it happens, it's just like, oh, that's what you're trying now, huh? Well, I mean, it's cool that you're like, it's, it just sometimes it just doesn't hit right. But I do honest to God love seeing people try though, because like that's because you never know until you try. And it's really cool to see people go through that. What'd you think about the rest of the story though? The story overall?
I thought the story was fun. It was a lot. There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you need Ratcatcher at all for any of this, but I also don't know where it's going. So maybe like Ratcatcher becomes instrumental in the end. But between like Catman, Ratcatcher, Catwoman, and Batman, and then you have like Alfred taking jabs. It's like there's 5 characters in 22 pages. And it's just like, this is too much. This is too much.
Yeah, because I was thinking when you were going through Batman, you're going through your script, your summary. Like, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, oh man, mine's way longer than this. I was like, did I write too much? Oh God, maybe I'm writing way too much about.
Scarecrow breaks out of Arkham and then kills one guy, and then Batman kind of stops it. The end.
And that's about all that. There's like 5 more characters in the book. Right. And Shadow. It was I do want to say though, I honest to God do love Ratcatcher.
He's a great character.
And I love the commitment to writing him as just old kooky comic book style, like just the rant. The rant is just big word balloons for like 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah. I think one of the things that endeared me to Ratcatcher too was that when we first talked about him on the pod, he was being drawn by Lee Weeks. And that made me go, oh, Ratcatcher's super fun, because those issues were super fun because Lee Weeks was drawing the hell out of it.
Yeah, Lee Weeks is fucking great.
Let's talk about Detective Comics 690. Detective Comics 690, written by Chuck Dixon with art by Staz Johnson. Firefly is hallucinating. He sees in the fire a boatload of nude firewomen he calls angels. That's how Batman thinks he can beat him, because he projects his faults and his needs into the fire and the flames. He wants it to burn slow. Meanwhile, the mayor is on the news saying that Gordon is a loose cannon from the time he kicked the shit out of Tommy Mangles at that bar. Meanwhile, the guy that got fired on Black Mask's crew, that Firefly eventually replaced, and Batman waterboarded in the bathtub, which made everybody a little uncomfortable, turned out to be Firebug, Firebug's first appearance was in Batman 318, about 200 issues ago, and he's made by Len Wein and Irv Novak. He's pissed and he's brewing up some more fire fuel. Batman gets a likely arson target, expecting to run into Firefly. Instead, Firebug is there lighting up the place. They fight, and Firebug fucking dies, burning himself alive. He's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't even hesitate or grieve or anything. He just goes on to Robin and is like, we need to go on the offensive and start beating up Black Mask's crew. Batman saw the man burn to death, Jason. He doesn't, nothing, no emotions.
Yeah. This I do want to just honorable mention to the gut that they drew on him. I really appreciated that. He's in his suit again, but he's got
that beer belly. Yeah.
A big old beer belly.
Batman eventually catches up with Firefly, who is showing his date from his previous issue who he really is. She hates it. She runs away. Batman and Firefly fight. Fire is everywhere. The place is exploding. Do you see them, Batman? The angels and the flames. Robin knocks over a water tower, putting out the blaze. Batman drags an unconscious Firefly out, says that for a second, he saw the fire angels too. Jason, what do you think of Detective Comics 690?
I actually kind of dug it. I dug it a little bit. Not as much as I enjoyed. I don't want to say I enjoyed Shadow as a full issue, but I didn't like it as much as I love Ratcatcher. But
sure.
Fire
villains are kind of like, they're kind of to me. Like they never really hit right for whatever reason.
Yeah, because like I think that like when there's just not a lot of depth to them more often than not. You know, it's like, okay, Firefly is just like an arsonist who hallucinates, you know, and has other issues. That's why he burns stuff down. It's like, all right.
And it's like Firebug's basically the same guy. It's like, I don't know what we're doing out here.
Yeah, it's not even like compelling when you have like, you know, a story of like, which happens in real life apparently. So, well, it does, of like firefighters who will like start fires that, you know, become arsonists because they want to be a hero. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a dramatically interesting thing.
Sure.
You know, but like, just like, hey, crazy guy who starts a bunch of fires.
Because he does. Because he likes it.
Yeah. Oh, and he's old school too. He doesn't like go for these like newfangled accelerants. I thought that
the bit about Firefly kind of like falling in love with his neighbor, I thought that stuff was all really good. And I kind of wish they leaned into that more. I wish that the whole Firebug stuff didn't happen and it was just like Firefly on dates. Maybe even like, because they allude to the fact that like Firefly is using the fire to like kind of fill a place in him.
Yeah.
And that like he feels like he can't otherwise fill. And it's like, it would be nice if the girl that Firefly was like kind of interested in kind of filled that. And he was like, oh, maybe I should give up the game. I don't know. You know, like I think there's like a good conflict there, but it never really pans out that way. However, there was a great moment where she's like running from the place after seeing Firefly in the full suit. And like Robin's like, this way, ma'am. And she's like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm done with you costume people.
Yeah, that was because, yes, that I think that would be my response, even if like I was kidnapped by some crazy costume supervillain and then other costume people came to save me and they're like, don't worry, thanks, but get the hell away.
Yeah, I'm good.
Like, yeah,
I can find the door.
Yeah, I'm forever in your debt. Thank you for saving my life. I need to get the fuck away from you. I think you'll understand why. You know. Also, what was up with Batman seeing them too? What?
I know. I was like, are they alluding to Batman being a fucking arsonist now? Like, is that what's happening? I don't know what that is. I think Chuck Dixon just wanted like a button on the end of the story, and like didn't quite know what to do, and just did that.
Yeah, like it's an okay line. Like I get it as a line, you know. But now I'm imagining Batman as like a sullen goth teen, which isn't hard to imagine, but like a sullen goth teen just like sitting there with a book of matches and like lighting one and like letting it burn and staring at it until it burns his finger, you know. Like
I think that this might be a good vein to like mine, as far as like maybe they are fire angels. Maybe that's a thing that's like following Firefly around, and like Batman saw it for a second. Like that might be a cool thing to do, but yeah. I don't know if they're going to expand on this at all ever. So
yeah,
you know, it is what it is.
It did make me think that maybe initially Chuck Dixon wanted more of like Firefly with his date and like build that relationship, but maybe like the editors were like, man, we're not going to have a 6-issue arc of Firefly, man. Like, man, you know, I get it.
It's a bummer too, because it's like we get Firefly and his date, and that's like kind of interesting, and it's like very brief, and we're done. And it was the same thing with Bullock and his date. It was like they went on a date. It seemed like it was an interesting thing, and then they just gut shoot her and murder her.
Yeah. Superhero comic books, especially in the 90s, I think have a pretty big problem with just normal human relationships in general.
Yeah, right. How do you write just two people in a room having a conversation without punching each other?
Yeah. I was noticing when I was flipping back through again the issue that like, man, the artist like was Staz Johnson, right? Or Staz. Yep. The art's super good, but yeah, I was just kind of surprised at just how well just the regularly clothed people looked. Because sometimes, and especially this era of superhero books, everyone in street clothes just looks like a superhero in street clothes, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, they looked like normal people, especially too like Firefly didn't seem like a huge dude. Like he's huge when he's in the suit, but he's like a normal sized guy in like going on a date with this normal sized girl. Like they looked like regular people.
Yeah.
You want to talk some Batman adventures? Do some top fives.
Top 5 Batman adventures.
Okay, how did you narrow into your top 5? Did you have a method?
Not really. I was kind of, or at least not at first. I think that like I sort of went. I was going through them, scanning the covers, and the covers a lot. Like would bring back like what
right.
What I
issue
liked the most. Yeah, and a lot of them ended up being, well, all of them ended up being pretty much just like from like the first half or like the kind of more beginning-ish portion.
Yeah, it started so strong.
Yeah.
I took notes. I was like, okay, no wrong answers. I'm just going to like jot down every single one that I liked. I'm going to go through, check out the covers, just to like bring it back in my mind, and then jot it down. And I came away with 12 issues, and then I narrowed from there. But yeah, like 12 issues out of 36 that are like, and these are the ones that I loved, not even the ones that were like still good, but not ones I loved. Like 12 out of 36, that's a great hit percentage.
Oh yeah. I just kind of pulled the trigger quick because like I'm really bad at like, all right, like so like I have this thing that I do that no one realizes that I'm doing it, but like whenever I'll bring up like a Simpsons quote, which is a lot, sure. I'll just say the line, oh, this is my my favorite Simpsons quote, or my favorite Simpsons. It's like they're all pretty much my like.
It's hard to narrow it down for sure.
Yeah. So like I get like tired of like qualifying things like that because it's just like, man, like don't make me do this.
Well, okay, hit me with in no particular order. Did you put them in order? I didn't put mine in order.
Oh no, I didn't put them in order, but I'll just read them off from lowest issue number to highest issue numbers, just the way I wrote it down.
Yeah. Hit me with give me one favorite.
Issue number 9.
Issue number 9. That was not on my list. Which issue is that?
That's a Rupert Thorne issue where
right.
Batman's going after the Little Red Book.
Yeah. And goes into the there's a great shot of Batman like grappling out of Rupert Thorne's place as like there's thugs around the pool and he's like grappling over them and they're just wildly shooting in the air. Yeah. That issue's great.
Well, one of my, it wasn't really a criteria, but in my head I was like, I'm gonna have to have an issue. I'm gonna have to make sure there's at least some goons in these issues. Some like really
you picked a goon issue, a goon heavy issue.
Yeah. I think I technically have 2 goon heavy issues. I think.
Nice.
But that was my first one, and like, god damn that. I might say this about all of the ones that I picked, but the action, dude, like,
yeah,
holy shit, just a masterclass in like how you draw like effective action in a comic book.
Right.
You know, like if I was teaching a class about comics, I would like use a lot of these pages as examples of like, hey, like here's why this works so well, and here's how clear it is, and like why it feels impactful.
If I remember right, that's the issue that had a very complex series of panels of action where Batman like grapples up to like a balcony by like pulling a guy down, and it like, I don't even remember exactly how it worked, but I remember reading it and being like, this is so complicated to pull off, and they do it flawlessly.
Yeah.
Visually. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's a great issue.
What you got?
My first one, lowest to highest, is issue number 6. That is the Hitchcock issue.
Oh.
That's the straight up murder mystery. Like Bruce Wayne's in jail. Dick Grayson's trying to like solve the case. Can't reveal that he's Batman. Sneaks out of jail to like do some Batmaning and then comes back to jail.
Oh,
you remember that issue?
Yeah. That great. Oh yeah. And when he just like knocked the crap out of his cellmate.
Yeah.
Like when they come to get him. Yeah.
Does the reason I think it's just very cleverly written, a great like one issue whodunit murder mystery that has a great ending, and the part at the end where Batman is like basically running up that very long rich person's driveway and there's like lightning in the background and it's like fucking terrifying, and he's just like shoulder down going for it. And the guy like opens his door, looks at Batman running at him down the driveway, and then just shuts his door and like turns around and goes the other direction. So good.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't think that I'm gonna be dealing with that.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay, hit me with another one.
My next one, again, this is just, numeral order.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for this reason. It was the first appearance of Harley Quinn issue in comic books, but it's the Batgirl issue. It's the first Batgirl issue.
Yeah, man. This made my short list, but didn't make my actual top 5 by a razor hair. This is probably number 6 for me. It's such a good issue.
Well, yeah, and I just absolutely love the way that that Kelly Puckett writes Batgirl.
Yeah, it's so good.
And of course, Mike Parobeck, the way he draws her, like, is just so.
Yep.
She's just such a scamp, and it's so funny, and she's so like like when she saves the girl and the girl's like, oh my God, you saved me. Like, you're so cool. She's like, I am, like, it's just,
it's extremely fun.
And Harley Quinn just being kind of dumb, which to me, that's when Harley Quinn's at least like the funniest, when she's just kind of like flighty, like, huh?
Yeah. The bit that was like the quick nod to the Killing Joke, where like Harley has the drop on Batgirl and shoots and misses. I was like, this is so good. This is peak comics.
And I also love the joke of the way she distracts Poison Ivy, is that she just throws a potted plant.
Yeah. Just chucks it across the room.
Yeah, I'm like, this is such a great gag. It's just such a great gag.
Yeah. I am following my number 6 with number 7, which is Croc Wrestling.
Man, what a good one.
I have never ever cared for Killer Croc. Like, I don't care about his character. I even the issues where Kelly Jones was drawing him, where he's like wandering into the swamp and stuff. Like, I just, for whatever reason, Croc always just felt like a mindless goon to me, and I never really clicked.
Yeah, he's kind of one note the way in the main like universe. He's kind of one note. Like in the animated series, they get in the animated series, from what I remember, he's just kind of more of like a Frankenstein's monster, like misunderstood, like,
right. And he's like a big dummy, and like there's not a lot to him. He's just an extremely formidable foe for Batman to like punch.
Yeah.
And in this, it was like they gave Croc like a sympathetic backstory. Like he's wrestling for like respect of the crowd. His trainer was gold every single time he was in the comic. Like, and then at the end, like Batman looking at Croc, and Batman had caught the villain, which was the masked wrestler that Croc was supposed to face, and Batman got him, and Croc hadn't broken any laws. And there's this moment where they like see each other, and they're like, Batman's like, keep your nose clean, and Croc's like, yeah, whatever. And like they go their separate ways, and I was like, this is so good, so good. I love that issue.
Yeah, that's, man, I can't believe I forgot about that. That was a phenomenal issue. It was so funny. It was so much fun. That was such a fun book.
A lot of great like nods to Rocky in there that were very fun. Chasing the chicken, and then he's eating the chicken later in the comic. It's so good.
It was great gags. Great gags. I didn't even mean to do this, but my previous pick was issue 12, and my next pick is issue 13. That's
my next pick. You son of a bitch.
Well, I think I knew we were both going to pick that one. Honestly,
this
like
is definitely overlap.
Yeah, that was like the one I was like zeroed in on first, because I was like, okay, I know I'm going to have this one, because we even reference it like a lot.
Yeah. So what is issue 13?
Issue 13 is Batman and Talia.
Yeah.
It's the Batman and Talia, who's the son of Ra's al Ghul. And they go to Paris, and Batman gets his heart broken. But it's just such a good, like, the characters are written so well. Like this is like an actual adult relationship in a comic book that, like, I think is written like pretty well. And it's just so, like, the whole montage of them in Paris.
Dates.
The great it's just one panel, but it's just so beautifully drawn of Talia with a giant book being so happy. They're a famous Paris bookseller. Bruce just handing over a huge wad of cash, just kind of smiling. And like the bookseller, like, was just like eyes so what, like, oh my God, I've never seen, and Bruce, here it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Bruce just making time. And it's like, Bruce is just on a date he's happy because Talia's happy. It's just like nice. And
yeah,
you really get to like live in that space of like, oh, what if Bruce wasn't Batman? What if he could like distance himself? And then it all comes crashing down as he's like, it's going to be nightfall soon. And then they go after the bad guy who traps them in a house that's burning, and they make out in the house. It's so good, Jason.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's just like a pure romance. So I put that on my list as well. But in my short list, I had to make a choice because I was like, I don't want to put 2 romance books on here. I almost put issue 8, which was the Clayface romance book.
Oh yeah, that was
where
really
we get a little Summer Gleason. We get behind the scenes at the newsroom. Like that issue is very, very good. But like,
it's so heartbreaking.
It's so heartbreaking. And I just feel like the Talia romance book was just like far and away the jewel of this run. I feel like I feel like that's, I think it's maybe my favorite of the entire mainline run, except for maybe not, because issue 16 is Joker kidnaps a comic book artist.
Okay, yeah, that's
an absolute banger, an absolute fucking banger. Joker, sick of seeing how he's represented in the comic books, decides to kidnap a comic book artist. We get cameos from our entire team of Batman Adventures people, the real people, and Joker kidnaps a comic book artist and makes him draw comics that put the Joker in a favorable light. It is so good. Joker has him on a little contraption. They're wheeling him around so he could be at a drafting table the entire time. It's so stupid and fun. And if you like comics, the thing is like just packed with references. It's really, if I wasn't a comic artist myself, I don't know if this issue would resonate as much as it does with me, but just like, I just love it. It's just so good.
Well, I'm getting kind of jealous of your picks now, you know,
you are.
Because I'm like, fuck that one too. Shit, that one too. I mean, I think I knew that was going to happen. You know, like I was saying before, like kind of everything is
a notable a notable issue that made my short list, but not my top 5, was number 10, which was the Riddler story that also featured Mastermind, Professor, and Mr. Nice for the first time. That issue is also really great. A lot of great goons in that. That was when the goons were like extremely sympathetic to Riddler and his plight, you know?
Yeah, yeah. They were all like Three Stooges.
Yeah, and then they were like the bit where they were saying like, oh, well, you know, you might be able to pull one over on Batman this time. He gets hit in the head a lot. He might be dumber. Like, so
they're just trying to help their boy out. They're just trying to help out their friend. Like their friend is like all down in the dumps.
An honorable mention, but an excellent issue.
My next pick is issue number 15.
15 didn't make my short list. What issue is that?
That's freaking hard-boiled Jim Gordon just kicking ass because he has an undercover cop who's been made, and it's just full of goons, and it's full of Gordon just like, you know, him and his powerful mustache just like squaring up, just beating the crap out of everyone, going into a seedy club. Like,
I almost put that on my short list. I remember hesitating and like flipping through the issue, and I was like, man, this issue's good, but I don't know. I've already put so many issues on here already.
I mean, again, I think the through line for most of the ones that I picked, like pretty much all of them, were some of my favorite Probeck action, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because like it just sings, man. Like in some of these books, it just really, really sings, and I just absolutely love it. And like I'm just such a sucker for like, just like the hard nose, like, you know, take no prisoners, like a freaking, like I love Justified, you know what I mean? Like,
sure. Yeah. Like, oh man, new season of Justified is coming, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. About it. Kind of, yeah. But yeah, that's just and I'll also always love the trope of like old man going down fighting, like, you know, like there's a part where like all the goons are descending on him and he's like, I know I'm not gonna get them all, but like just like swinging up, like, fuck yeah, go down fighting, man. Like
super fun. Super fun. All right, my last pick is issue number 31, and that is Anarchy. That is with the guest writer Alan Grant. That Anarchy issue is so good. I love seeing rich people terrorized. We had an ethical debate on like, is it right to threaten people who make landmines? And it is ethical to do that. Please do that. If you know anyone who mass produces landmines, give them a lot of shit.
Oh yeah, all day, every day, all day, every day.
I think that through this podcast, I knew who Anarchy was, but I hadn't read a lot of Anarchy stuff. And through this podcast, the more Anarchy I read, the more I just really, really like the character, because he's like a terrifying true believer, but he's also like just extremely fun on the page, because even though he's a terrifying true believer, he also just believes in like, you know, decentralizing everything. So like, he doesn't give a shit about Batman. He doesn't give a shit about the police. He doesn't give a shit about gangsters. He doesn't give a shit about anything. No masters here, you know?
Yeah. No gods, no masters, man.
When Robin eventually catches up with him and fights him on the roof, it's very good that it's like not Batman. I feel like by making it Robin and Anarchy, and Robin being young and like maybe ideological, like pliable a little bit, like I thought that was like a good bit where like Robin comes away and he's like, you know, maybe Anarchy had some good points in there, you know?
Maybe he's kind of right, you know, about these things. Maybe the guy who makes landmines, even if he has like a charity for his daughter who had cancer or something, is a really bad person and should like, you know, pay for the crimes that they've done.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So you have one pick left, right?
Yes, one pick left. It's the first full appearance of the Professor, Mr. Nice, and Mastermind. Issue 20.
They have to make the list. They have to make the list.
That and the Talia issue were my two like immediates. You know, like I knew I needed to have them on the list, and then I was just kind of going through. I very clearly like I hewed a bit more like, you know, early, but man, like just the everything in it, just the crazy kooky characters. I love a character that is, I mean, it's so Looney Tunes, like, you
that's
know, in the actual like
Batman's barely in that one, right? Like that's the one where they go after the Pearl.
That's
or is that another? Is that another Mr. Nice Professor? Oh, is that the one where they try to become a nuclear power, but they're stopped by a puppy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm on board. Yeah. Yes. That one made almost made my short list as well. And I was like, there's so many good issues. And I was like, I can't. I love this issue, but I can't.
Yeah. Well, and even taking the, you know, the characters that we love so much, like out of the equation, for the simple fact alone of the amazing car chase scene. Like it is.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
So very hard to do a good car chase in comic books. I think that's a lot why you don't see it a lot, because cars are hard to draw, and also showing them in action in a realistic-ish manner is also super hard. And it's just like perfect. And also, and then bringing back the characters like, you know, Mastermind with his like overly complicated plan.
Yep.
You know, just like everything going around. And I'll always love the and again, it's a very Looney Tunes trope where like here's like, you know, all the characters' flaws, you know, Mastermind's flaw, and Mr. Nice's flaw, and the professors, like they're all always undone by it somehow, and like they're undone by a puppy,
right? Yeah, because Mr. Nice just can't pull the trigger on a puppy.
Yeah, Batman knows that Mr. Nice is too nice to hurt a puppy, so that's all they needed to put in front of the nuclear weapons. Which I'm just like, sure, yes, I love that ending. I love it so much.
Excellent comics.
Yeah.
I had a couple more on the short list. I'm just going to run through them real quick because they are not my picks, but I did enjoy them. Issue 18, where Batgirl and Robin fight the commissioner candidate who's corrupt. That's the one where Robin lifts two grown men out of the alley in front of Barbara, and Barbara's like, "Oh," but like all the stuff between Batgirl and Robin, and then Dick and Barb at like the college was just all really fun. I actually had issue 26 on my short list as well, because I was like, I don't know which one I'm going to pick. That's also a Batgirl and Robin issue. That's when they fight their professor who's like trying to steal like the guns, the MacGuffin guns. Yeah.
I really, those are really good. Those had the dialogue between them. I plan on watching like a bunch of them, but it's on the Criterion channel. They have a collection of screwball comedies from like the 50s. Like late 40s and stuff, and like their dialogue back and forth is very like Cary Grant and why am I just blanking? Katharine Hepburn. It's just very it just seems very pithy back and forth, like, and like there's a chemistry going on, and they're giving each other shit, like,
and like to communicate that chemistry in a comic book, especially one that's like geared for kids, where you you don't have to go that hard, but they did. It was just so good.
Yeah.
The other two that are on my list were on my short list that are honorable mentions are 19, Everyone Fears Scarecrow, where he's like a 7-year-old walking around Gotham just scaring the hell out of people.
It makes him so happy. It's all he wants to do. Yeah, that's all he wants to do.
The only reason I didn't put that one on the list is because you kind of need the two-parter of 4 and 5 to like kind of know what's going on with the mad scientist and Batman cornering him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like those issues aren't just not quite as strong as the rest of it. And then the only other one that I was like, maybe this one was issue 27, where Batman finds the fake Batman, the triathlon runner who like lost his wife. Just a really interesting way to explore Batman's grief. And it's a kind of a downer of an issue, but it's still like very, very interesting, very well written. I don't think that one is necessarily like great for kids, because you really got to be steeped in the Batman mythos to really click with that issue,
Yeah, that definitely, I think that definitely would have been like a great like single issue and like a mainline book if they could have kept it like about just about that, and like kept the sort of lightness of like not making it super dark.
Right.
I think like that's that issue, maybe that's why it works so well.
Yeah, that issue would be at home as a Shadow of the Bat one shot for sure.
Yeah, totally. Man,
so
anarchy issue.
Man, so I'm gonna run down my issues real quick, and then you can run down yours. Issue number 6, the Hitchcock issue. Issue number 7, Killer Croc Wrestling. Issue number 13, the Talia Romance. Issue number 16, Joker Kidnaps a Comic Book Artist. And issue number 31, Anarchy. Hit me with your top 5.
Mine are issue number 9. That's the one with Rupert Thorne and a little red book, just filled with so many beautiful goons. Oh, my beautiful goons. Issue number 12, the first appearance of Batgirl in this book, and the first comic book appearance of Harley Quinn. They didn't, know. Issue number 12, a mutual favorite. I think up the podcast favorite. Issue 15, just hard-boiled Jim Gordon just messing dudes up left and right. And issue number 20, the first like full story of the Professor, Mr. Nice, and Mastermind, which is just hilarious and so beautifully done. I did almost pick that issue 17 just on the cover alone, but it was another like, you know, Ra's al Ghul, like, you know, against Batman on the black horse with the
right. Yeah, I was looking at that one too, but I was like, it's just not quite as strong as the other stuff, but it's also a really good issue. Yeah.
It is, but just the cover was just
so many good issues. Many good issues in this run. If you're interested in checking out any of this stuff, an omnibus is coming out very, very soon. I think it's in September. It's going to have all of these issues. I think it's the 36 issue run. Check that out. And check out our favorite issues.
Yeah, read comic books, man.
Yeah, read comic books. Jason.
Nick.
Where can people get in touch with you?
People can get in touch with me on the Twitter machine at King of Black Acid, also at the world's second finest. That's world's second with the number 2. I just want to slightly apologize for sort of like using the Batman animated series theme song. And but you know what? Like,
you closed it out well.
I had other ideas, but that one worked better. I was like, you know, final issue
on your
of
song
the first,
streak.
And final issue of the first arc, I'm like, I can't do like time after time or something, you know. I'm like, I think I'll just do it a nice, you know.
Oh man, you've got nothing to apologize for. I have two read piles that I have not edited for YouTube yet, and I don't know, they might be lost to time. I might work on the things that we're recording currently, and then those will be lost to time. I don't know, we'll see. But you can find me at Nickfil on most platforms. You can find me linktree.com/Nickfil. We're talking comics in the Discord. The link for that is up there. We just recently were talking about distillery and more publishers coming out of the woodwork a little bit lately. Seems like we're in a glut of publishers, but it's the same like 10 writers at every publishing house. And it's like, I don't fault it. Get your money. I'm not casting any shade on it, but I'm just like, are people clamoring for this? I don't know. We were talking about that. So we chat about comics. Come join us over there, and the link will be in the description, in the show notes. So feel free to click around.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Yeah.